Hey there, I'm Jonathan Acosta, joined here by our WGRZ Sabres insider, Paul Hamilton. Welcome into this latest edition of Sabres Take Two. And Paul, let's jump right into it. Unfortunately, for a 14th straight year, it's the same conversation here at the end of the season. The Sabres missing out on the playoffs. Obviously, there's differences with every season, but there's also a lot of similarities with the way these Sabres seasons go. What would you say are some of the key reasons we find ourselves in the same position this year, talking about them missing the postseason?
I miss those conversations we used to have. It's like, well, maybe you should get one more spot up and then you play this team in the playoffs. Or maybe go one spot down and play this team in the playoffs. I haven't had that conversation in 14 years. I've had this one too many times. But it's this year, I think, is a little bit different for a couple of reasons. This group of guys just seemed like, this is their third season together, basically, as a group. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like they just weren't getting it. You know, they had two different coaches, and they weren't playing the way those coaches wanted them to play. But when they did play the way those coaches wanted them to play, they were a good team. But they didn't do it enough. Or they would do it for half a game. And a lot of things crept into their game. This year was different, too, where last year they got goaltending near the end of the year, and they thought they had their number one goaltender, but they didn't get the year out of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen that they had gotten last year. So the goaltending was inconsistent. The special teams were very inconsistent, especially the power play. The penalty kill at times would go on a pretty good streak, but that was really down the tubes. They weren't scoring goals in the beginning of the year like they are now. They're seventh in the league going into action on Wednesday.
They're on a heater.
In the league in scoring. And when you look at their home record in their last 20 games, they're 16-4. They're the second team in the league in scoring. So the goals, they can score goals. They figured that part out. Mm-hmm. But there was just so many different things. The turnovers, the way they handled the puck. Their puck management in many games was really poor, and they just couldn't snap out of it for long periods of time. You win a couple, then you lose 4. You win 4, and then you go on a streak where you don't win in 13 games. We call it a 13-game losing streak. The NHL calls it a 13-game winless streak. Right. However you'd like to refer to it. But, that killed them. Just the fact that the inconsistent defensively, a lot of the defensemen weren't having the seasons that they thought they could have, and but then the 13 games put them away. When that started, they were in third place in the division. When it was over, less than a month later, not even 4 weeks, they were last in the conference. That is crazy to see your whole season blow up in that short a period of time. And before that, as I said, I think there were only 2 points out of second place in the division.
And then you see the way they've played after that 13-game winless streak. And I think even Lindy touched on it a couple of weeks ago, I forget after which home win, where he said the 13-game winless streak really killed us, because before that they were playing like a team that could make the playoffs. After that, especially here in these last 9 or 10 games, they've been playing like a team that can make the playoffs. Like you said, it's incredible to think about that one stretch in the winter that totally derailed their season.
Some other losing streaks after that, too. You know what? Where I point to, there's 2 things I point to in this season. What really killed them in the beginning of that winless streak was the Colorado game. Yep. 11 minutes into the game, they're up 4-0, and they lost that game. To me, they never really recovered fully from that until recently. Mm-hmm. And I think the other watershed moment was when Tage Thompson got laid out and nobody did anything about it. And some hard words were said in that locker room by Lindy Ruff, by Kevin Adams, by players. Ever since then, I think that now we've seen, I remember Rasmus Dahlin saying after those meetings, not too long, maybe 1 or 2 games after that, he goes, "We are finally becoming a team."
I think it was shortly after the Four Nations face-off.
Right. We are finally becoming a team. We're coming together. We can feel it in the locker room. Ever since then, where there's a scrum, 5 guys all in. They're all there. They have each other's back. When somebody makes a mistake on the ice, guys are hustling back to help out, to try to help break the play up. They've got each other's backs on the ice. They've got each other's backs off the ice. They understand if somebody has something to say, it's for the constructive part of the group to make them play better. And the focus now is we have to play the way we're supposed to play. There's a way to play the game. We must play the game the right way. That's all they're focusing on right now. A lot of people are kind of amazed that, with nothing to play for, how are they getting up for these games? First of all, if you look at them, they're having fun.
Yeah.
Finally, because they're playing well. They're beating good teams.
And that's what they've been doing all year, right? They've struggled against some of the teams not so high up in the standings, but when they play in Edmonton, a Las Vegas, a Washington, they get up and play really well against these teams.
Yeah, and Carolina's a good team too.
Yeah.
That's a good example. I mean, that's the latest game we just saw. They were patient in that game. They might have got very impatient and then started giving the puck away, because that's what Carolina will do. They'll wait for you. They'll let you make the mistake. The Sabres were just calm throughout the game. They gave up some shots, but I don't think they got dominated. They got dominated on the shot clock, but they didn't get dominated in that hockey game. I thought they were pretty good defensively. When they weren't, Reimer made the big saves. They were very opportunistic in what they did. They did miss a lot of good opportunities too that rolled off their sticks and that type of thing, but they took advantage of Carolina mistakes to win a hockey game. That's not what they used to do. They'd get antsy. And it's like, 0-0. We got to start scoring some goal. We got to do something here. Now it's like, you know what? If we have to go to overtime, so be it. Just relax. Let's just play our game. Let's play the right way. Let's not panic. If we got to go to overtime, let's go to overtime and get our 2 points. If we got to go to a shootout, let's go to the shootout and get our 2 points. You got to get your 2 points. It doesn't matter when you get them. And I was impressed just the patience I saw yesterday. The different ways they win games now. The Washington game. They're ahead in that game the whole game. Then Ovechkin scores. They blow the roof off the place. Then they score again. They thought Ovechkin scored again. It got tipped.
Yeah.
Now this place is going nuts. It's 6-5 Sabres. I'm going to tell you, 100 times out of 100 earlier in the year, they would have lost that game. They would have panicked. They would have sat back, and the Caps would have won going away.
They would have invited the pressure on.
But you know what they did? They went forward and scored. They answered. They scored the goal to make it 7-5 and quiet those fans and won the hockey game. Scored 8 goals against one of the, if not the best team in the National Hockey League in their building. Boy, that's not the team we saw earlier in the year.
So going off of that, I feel like a lot of people might say, hey, this is classic Sabres going on a run here at the end of the season when the season's kind of sort of out of reach. How do you put into context the fact that they're eliminated from the postseason, but that they're putting together their best stretch of hockey under Lindy Ruff this season, 8 wins in 9 games, and that this is the first time they're doing that in over 2 calendar years?
I know I've mentioned it to you guys. I've mentioned it on the radio. It's like, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I think you have to have him in net. He's got to shake this. He's got to get his confidence back. And Lindy Ruff has a different idea, and I don't necessarily disagree with it now that I've heard what he has to say, where he's saying, I'm not developing players. That's not what we're here for. We've done that. That part of the program is over.
Yeah.
It's the here and now. He goes, we have to learn how to play the game the right way all the time. That's what we're doing right now. And right now, James Reimer gives them the best chance to do that. So, he's looking at, if we don't have a good period in the first period, Boston, they got behind 2-0, gave the puck away for the period. But we're getting chances, didn't score. Outscored the Bruins 6-1 in the last 40 minutes. Played very good game after that.
Yeah.
They made adjustments in game. Not, that would have just snowballed before. 2-0, we're not playing well. The fans are going to get on us. And we just snowballed on them. No, they came out in the second period, played the game right, and won the hockey game easily. So those are the things that Lindy Ruff is. You're not going to be perfect all the time. Games like Philadelphia and games like the other loss they had, which was a bad loss, I don't remember off the top of my head. There were 2 of them in there in this little streak here where they've won 10 out of 13. Those are going to happen. How do you respond? That's the you don't respond with 13 losses in a row. You respond with coming out and playing the way you're supposed to the next game. All right, we weren't good in one game. We're not perfect. Now let's go out and play the way we're supposed to in the next game. And in those 2 games, each time they went out and won hockey games the next game.
You bring up UPL, you bring up Reimer. Reimer, 7 straight starts with a win now. He's been incredible here down the stretch. You think back to beginning of the season, Lindy Ruff asked about the goaltending situation. He said, start 3 letters, UPL. Very different to now to what the situation is. How do you sort of project this Sabres goaltending situation moving forward with UPL sort of now behind Reimer playing well, and you have Devin Levi, who's been phenomenal in Rochester?
They've tried to hand Levi the job twice now. Earlier this year, to me, Luukkonen earned the job last year, but they were alternating. That didn't seem to be working for either one of them. Luukkonen showed us last year the more he played, the better he got. And a guy like Devin Levi in college played most of, if not all, the games. Now, those are weekend games. You don't play during the week, but still, he played most of the games. And I think he also needs to be in net. So they did the right thing and sent him to Rochester where he could be in net all the time. Mm-hmm. And then Luukkonen could be in net all the time, but it hasn't worked out for Luukkonen this year. You know, he's played 53 games, but some games have been good. It hasn't all been bad. He has had some good games.
He's just been way more inconsistent.
Yeah, inconsistent. Hasn't made that big save. I thought one of the great things about his success last year is he would always make the big save at the big time, to help the team out, and that just wasn't happening. You couldn't get the big save out of him. We don't know what's going to happen with Devin Levi. I do like the way they're handling him now that, he gets almost a full season down there in the second half of last season. He's an all-star down there. He's one of the best college goaltenders to ever play. So his resume should say he is going to be a good NHL goaltender, But we don't know that. It hasn't translated yet. So they got to go in with ifs in net next year. Will Luukkonen be able to figure it out over the summer, take in some coaching, work on some things, and get back what he was at the end of last year? Can Levi take college, AHL, and now put it into the NHL? Or James Reimer does love it here. And he's not, you can tell he's being very, very sincere. He loves the players here. He likes playing with this team. He enjoys being here. And that was before he played all these games in a row. And maybe you look at it and say to him, we'd like to bring you back. We got to see how this is going to work out in training camp. And we will be good to you if it works out where these 2 young kids are ready, we'll find a place for you to play.
But if not, it seems like he could be like a very solid, stable veteran presence.
Right, exactly. Tell him that we'd love to have you back. We got to see what these kids are like, and if these kids are up to the task, we'll find you a place to play. And just be honest with them. And he may go for that. He may not. I don't know. I'm not him. I'm not his agent. But they are, what they thought, and I thought so too. They had their goaltender. Right now, it's all in flux.
Ifs at the goaltending position, no ifs with Tage Thompson, who has been, along with Rasmus Dahlin, clearly the Sabres' 2 best players. He's been awesome this season, now up to 44 goals on the year. He's been on a heater, just sort of like the team here the past couple weeks. Just how do you put Tage Thompson's season into words? Gets off the left off the Four Nations team. Easily make the case he should have been on the team. He's sort of proving this year why he should be in strong consideration for the Olympic team next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's got goals in 5 straight games. I think he has, I'm trying to think, 10 goals in 8 games, I believe, something like that. He just is right on top of his game. And I talked to Alex Tuck about this yesterday. Both he and Tage have been able to stay relatively healthy this year. And if you can stay relatively healthy, you can put together these seasons. And it's just, he's coming through the neutral zone with speed. You're a defenseman. Here comes 6'7" Tage Thompson coming at you with speed. And this guy can shoot a puck. He has one of the hardest shots in the National Hockey League. The type of talent. He can make you look silly with moves. Mm-hmm. So instead of stepping up and playing him at the blue line, they back off. Just watch the goal the last night, everybody just backs off. And now he can just walk right in because they're all like, uh-oh. And they know also you've got Benson who's going to win battles. You've got Kulich who can also can do some tricky things with the puck and can skate. So you got these guys coming at you, and they back off. And it's really helped him. But it's also funny, too, if you stop and think about it. Look at his line. He's playing with a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old. How is he doing this?
Because he's played well with everyone, though, because even when he plays with Tuck, you think back to the goal a few games ago, the one with Peterka, where everyone's like, shoot, and then he lays it off to Peterka, and then Peterka feeds it back to him for a super easy goal.
So that even
well with everyone.
It makes, but Benson has just been amazing. I asked him yesterday about the Bruin game, the first goal by Thompson. There's Benson whacking away at the puck in the crease. Two Bruin defensemen are all over him. I looked up their size. One was 6'4", the other was 6'3", and they both weighed over 215. They're trying to knock him down, and he's just whacking at the puck and nobody could knock him down. They say 5'10". I don't believe it. He's about my size.
He plays well above his size.
I basically look him in the eye, or he might even be a little smaller than me as far as height goes. And but yeah, he's got to have very strong legs to be able to win those types of battles, to be able to protect the puck on the boards the way he does. He's got to have very strong legs to be able to go up against bigger players like that. And as Thompson said, he just wants it more. He wants the puck more than his opponent does. And he goes and gets it. You know, and Thompson even, by the time he was done whacking around at the puck, it went right to Thompson, who put it in the empty net because they were right with the goaltender there. So, and then Kulich, as I said, he can be nifty at times and has good speed. And, you know, it's just been a good line for the team. They kind of split up, he and Tuck and Peterka. They're all on different lines, but it's working. I mean, Peterka has 2 more points than games recently. Tuck is just crazy what he's been doing lately. So it gives you good scoring on each line right now.
All right, final question. Season coming towards an end. Just what are you looking forward to? What are you looking out of this team in these last few games of the season?
The same. They really seem to be focused in on this game that they're playing. But the thing is, can they take it into next year? There's a problem with it. It's rare. Reason being, the guys you see now, some of them aren't going to be on the team next year, and they're going to be new people on the team next year. So it's not the same guys. That's why it's very difficult. I know Kyle Oposo mentioned that to me a couple times. He goes, you don't usually can take one season into another. I'm not saying they can't, because they are enjoying what they're doing right now, and they're finding out that if we do and play the game the way Lindy Ruff wants them to, we enjoy hockey again. It's not this again. We've been out of this since Christmas, and we got to do this again. Are you kidding me? You watch them. They're enjoying playing the game of hockey because they're playing the game of hockey the way it should be played. So maybe they can take it in. I'm not going to make any predictions one way or the other. They don't know if they can take it into October. I don't know if they can take it into October. I guess we'll find out in October. But if they do, if they want to play this way for most of a season, I will guarantee you they will be in the playoffs.
All right. Well, we'll see if they can at least a season that won't end in the playoffs or the postseason, but we'll see if they can end it on a positive note here this last stretch of the season. For Paul Hamilton, I'm Jonathan Acosta for Channel 2 Sports.